To say that falls are a big problem among older people is a massive understatement. Each and every year, there are more than 37 million falls that are bad enough that they require medical attention. Now, injuries from these falls run the gamut. On the moderate end, they include things like bumps, bruises, and scrapes. And on the severe end, they include fractures, head injuries, and even death. According to the World Health Organization, 684,000 people die every single year as a result of falls, which makes them the second most common cause of unintentional injury death in the entire world. We already know exactly who needs to be most concerned about this problem and who's at the greatest risk for falling. That's adults age 60 and over. And if you're one of those folks, or if you're approaching that age, you are gonna love this video, because I'm about to show you what just might be the most effective training technique for dramatically reducing your risk for falling. And the best part is that you can get started right away from the comfort of your own home with just a little bit of time and stuff that you already have lying around the house. There are a ton of different ways that you can train to improve balance, with options ranging from simple static balance training, like standing on one foot, to dynamic balance training, like walking on a balance beam. And there are also a bunch of different tools that you can use, like wobble boards, balance balls, and slack lines. And literally all of these things have been shown to be effective for improving balance. But there's one type of balance training that's recently set itself apart, specifically for its ability to dramatically reduce the incidence of falls. In this study that was just released for preprint in July of this year, researchers did a systematic review and meta-analysis of 25 randomized controlled clinical trials with over 2,600 participants. And what they found was that this specific type of balance training, called perturbation-based balance training, reduced lab-induced falls by nearly 60%. And that overall, people using this style of training had a 24% reduction in injurious falls. The problem with a lot of balance training exercises is that they reduce falls by improving muscular strength and voluntary balance control. And while those things are certainly important, the downside is that they're training people mainly for situations and positions where they know exactly what's going to happen. But that's not where most falls take place. Now, perturbation-based balance training targets something called reactive balance, which is the body's ability to quickly respond to erratic and unpredictable forces, which helps to explain why its carryover in terms of actual fall prevention is so great. The really nice part is that you can get started with this style of training right away, and the only thing you're going to need for it is a plastic bottle that's partially filled with water. Begin in a stance where your feet are positioned hip-width apart and your toes are pointing straight ahead. From there, take the water bottle in both hands and slowly begin moving it side to side out in front of you at about belly button height, and feel how the water sloshing around inside of that bottle kind of pulls on your body in these unpredictable ways, which forces you to adapt and respond. And that's the whole point. And there are a bunch of different things that you can do to modify these forces. You can bring the bottle closer to your body, which makes it a little easier. You can move it further away, which makes it a little bit harder. You can bring it down low, which again makes it easier. You can bring it up high, which makes you a little bit more off balance. You can also change directions, going diagonally, front to back, in circles, both directions, and even things like a zigzag pattern going back and forth. But the idea here is that you're introducing these forces where you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You just have to sense them and respond. Once you get a little bit more familiar and comfortable with the different bottle movements and the options that are available to you, the first big progression is going from that hip width stance into a narrow stance where your feet are positioned side by side. From there, everything else would be exactly the same, but with that more narrow base of support, all of these movements become more challenging to deal with. Once you're good in that side-by-side stance, you can go into a tandem stance where one foot is positioned directly in front of the other. And again, all of the bottle movements are exactly the same, but the more narrow base of support means that the challenge is ramped up quite a bit. Once you're comfortable with all the two-footed versions, you can start doing some of those same exercises standing on one foot, which, needless to say, is a lot more difficult. In addition to modifying your stance, there are a few other simple things that you can do to make these exercises easier or more challenging. The first way to lessen the demand and ease yourself into these exercises is to use a smaller container with less fluid, which translates to less force, less strain on your muscles, and less demand on your balance system. Slowly over time, you would want to work yourself up to larger containers with more fluid in them. Another important thing to keep in mind is the surface that you're standing on, because doing these exercises on a firmer surface like a tile floor makes things quite a bit easier, and doing them on a softer surface like a thick rug or an exercise mat makes them more challenging. And finally, if you really want to ramp up the challenge, you can do these exercises while standing on an unstable surface like this AirX pad. Regardless of which variations of this exercise you choose to perform, sets should last about 30 seconds in duration, and you want to perform 4 to 8 sets a day, 5 to 7 times per week, slowly increasing demand over time using larger containers, stance variations, and more challenging surfaces. So now you've got a simple science-based strategy that you can put to use right away to start improving your balance and reducing your fall risk. If you like these kinds of quick, informative videos, leave me a comment down below and let me know about it. And if you want more information on improving your balance, I've got multiple videos on the subject, and I'll link to those here and here. Beyond that, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button and that little subscribe button before you head out of here, and I'll see you next time.